This is our performance space, our theatre, where, as you see, because we have rake seating that can go back, it's really multifunctional. That rake seating seats 100, and we have 24 up in the balcony, so it means we can put on some really amazing performances, which I'll tell you a bit about more later and about what DADA stands for and what we do here. But we thought, as today's session was all about movement, we'd like to share with you a little something where we realise that in our lives, actually, we are all about dance and movement. We know how much good it does. We know how much connectivity it has, how it helps brains, how it helps us feel good. But so often, we're quite restricted in our movements. And as a team, we don't even get to dance and move together. So I'm the producer here, but when I came here, I was like, actually, as a team, we don't get to move or dance together. We know we advocate dance and movement on every level, yet we're not dancing and moving. So the thing that I'm going to share with you is something that we do here on a Wednesday morning, and we call it Wake Up Wednesdays. It's super, super simple. But it came because, as well as a producer, I've spent 20 years being a community arts practitioner. And this thing that I'm going to share with you grew out of a theatre company that I started with people who had a lived experience of homelessness. And when they came for their sessions, I used to think, and just like you start with your networking, I used to think, oh, let's bring people in really gently. Let's make sure they've got a drink. Let's make sure they've got food. Let's start sitting down and we'll start with a little exercise and everything. And what I realised is that everybody came with such huge anxiety coming to be creative in a space, that actually this was counterproductive. And that space to talk and things, and they were so used to create sessions where they'd been therapized and talked at and everything, it just rose the anxiety. So I was like, this needs to change. We've got to find some way to burn off the anxiety and free the room and bring back joy and playfulness. So we invented this. And it's a really simple provocation, but it never failed to bring laughter and joy. And it reminds me every time how it sort of frees up your brain and brings that joyousness. So the invitation is not to dance well. It is not... it is absolutely not that. And I would encourage you to not think... It's almost like if ever you've done those storytelling circles where you say a bit and then the next person says a bit and the next person. All you do is spend the time thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say on my bit? Sort of change your brain pattern and try not to think, how am I going to move? How am I going to dance? What am I going to do when it gets to me? Because that will freeze you up and that will make you feel nervous. So try and clear your brain of anything. And when it gets to you, just dance or move your body however you want, basically, however feels right in that moment, for as long or as short as you want. And if you can't think at all how to move, and it can be a really still move, you just pass it on to the person next to you. So this we call kind of free dance, and I'm going to put on a track that hopefully makes everybody feel good. I'll start us off, and the idea is that you mirror exactly who has got that at the moment. So you'll all mirror me for a couple of beats or however long I manage to move. Then I'll clearly pass it on to the next person, and then Johnny will do that, and so on and so on and so on. And there's a lot of us, so you don't have to hold it for very long, but if you're enjoying it, hold it for as long as you want. We might even get through 2 tracks. But does that feel clear? I'm just going to get you just to shake off before we start, just because we're all holding lots of stress and things in our bodies. So give yourself a stretch up. Okay, brilliant. Feeling a bit stretched off. Obviously, don't move any way that feels uncomfortable. Just go with comfort. And as I reiterate, just try, like, the invitation could be to dance or move goofily. Like, don't think, like, oh, I've got to try and dance well for this. It's just about moving, and it's about moving together. And I'll ask you at the end what you notice, because for me, it's a really interesting...
Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take all the demons quiet. Yeah, we were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were around, see what you do. Everybody's watching you.
Thank you, everyone, for embracing that with such vigour and delight. You were amazing. What did you notice? Observations?
As soon as one person went in the middle, people followed.
Yeah.
Everybody was smiling.
Everyone was smiling. So there was a lot of being influenced by each other, but smiling. Sorry, you had some. Joy.
People got less inhibited as they went round, and it'd be interesting, not that you should do it, but if you went back around again, these guys who were absolutely brilliant, I think would
Get even bigger.
yeah,
Yes. That's it. And that's definitely what I found is even the shyest and people who said, I don't move, because we did it every week, they got bigger and bigger, more and more expressive, and that definitely happens. Anything else you noticed?
I would say, for the first time doing it, you saying not think about it and believing that would be the case really helped me. So I didn't think about it.
Oh, well done.
But I actually thought I would have to.
Yes.
But when you said it, it kind of released something.
Oh,
And
really
I don't have to think about it, that's okay. That was good.
Yeah, that's brilliant because our brain sort of trips us out and particularly into that self-conscious, like, oh, how to, but when I have known people do that exercise with blindfolds, which is a bit of a thing, some people don't like being blindfolded, but to really get people out of thinking, how am I going to move, how am I going to do? For me, I'm dyslexic, I'm pretty sure I'm dyspraxic, and following dance routines was something I found really challenging. I still do. I'm always on the left when I'm meant to be on the right and vice versa. But for me, moving freely, however I want or however the invitation takes me, and possibly trying to explore moving goofily or differently is a really great invitation. But something that I think this exercise shows, I don't know if it struck any of you, and again, if we did it more often, you perhaps would strike you more, is that when we're dancing, quite often we're thinking so carefully about ourselves and how we move that we don't actually get the opportunity to watch people around. And what I love about this exercise is it allows you to connect with others and see how they move and to move as they do. And that feels like a really brilliant thing. And you get a sense of somebody from how they move, which you don't often get in other, or you might get, but you get a different sense of somebody, I think. And yes, you start to feel their energies, what they're giving to a space, and you get to move like them, which for me feels like a brilliant experience. So
there's a real sense of connection, isn't there?
Yes.
A real deep connection.
Yes.
Heartfelt, deep connection.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's so true. And I think for us, that really underlines being a centre for dance and movement is I come from a theatre background myself, and words are really important and stories are really important to me. But it's amazing how much you can get from the movement, and you can tell stories and you can tell movement just in our bodies, and you can connect with people in really profound ways. So some of the shows that we programme have got words and stories melded in, but some are purely movement. And yeah, what you can get from that and the connections that you can have in this time and space are, amazing. So thank you for throwing yourselves into that. The other thing is that you'll probably see by my glowing face is that actually we do need to release our endorphins. And actually, when you were saying about joy and laughter, we all work in a really stressful industry at the moment. It's tough in the arts, and if we can find ways to reconnect to ourselves physically and use our endorphins, that's a brilliant way to start a day or share a day.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for regrouping. It's always difficult when we start to network like that. We've had a really nice session this morning. I'm Steve Slater. I'm the director here at Dada. I'd be interested, firstly, just to know how many of you have been here before? Oh, a lot. Okay, that's good. You work here, Johnny. I've been here about 3 years. I came literally at the week that we went into the very first lockdown. So I've been on a journey with data, but outside of the kind of those kind of global pandemic issues that we've all faced, data has faced a number of challenges outside of the pandemic, really, in terms of what we do and how we do it, I guess. And what I've brought, I think, or hopefully, to this organisation over the past 3 years is a kind of, I feel like a refocusing of priorities. We're much more, I think, now focused on our communities around us than we were. I'm much more interested in engaging with the creative community and collaboration. So they're my pillars, if you like, or the hill I will die on is collaboration. So we need to constantly be seeking connection and working with people and looking for opportunities. I'm going to pass you over to Manya, who joined us how many months ago now?
Only 6.
Only 6 months ago. But Manya's done an amazing job programming both the theatre here, but also we have another remit you may not be aware of, is that we also run Fest Day, which is a 2-day festival in September in Derby. Which is an outdoor festival. And we've basically been trying to blur the lines between the two and work, if you like, both inside the building and outside. And how do we bring the outside in and how do we take the inside out so that I guess the division isn't so clear anymore, and that we have a nice flexibility to our programme and what we do. So we work with lots of other organisations in the city already. I'm going to talk about a certain project which we're going to launch in September on the back of this year's Fest Day. But I'm going to hand you over to Manya to talk about the programme and Fest Day. Oh, it's gone. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. So great to have you with us. And it's been lovely hearing about some of your histories with data, which for some of you go back more than 18 years. And it is one of the few surviving dance centres left in the UK. And we have 4 dance studios. We run a full class programme. We engage with schools. We have a resident learning disabled theatre company here. There's so many wonderful journeys through from people learning to dance here. We've got a Create Dance Move class, which is for tiny, tiny people this morning. And people's journeys is what we hope go all through the organisation. We also host the BA and the MA. Sadly, the BA, it's the last year this year, but we hope to bring another BA back. So we have a lovely story of people who... Bachelor of Arts in Dance, sorry. Thank you for clarifying. So we have a lovely story of people learning to dance here, staying to dance here and coming back and teaching dance here. And we try and programme work that is going to integrate all of that together. And a lovely example is on Wednesday this week, we had a theatre piece called She Wolves, which was all about the environment, activism and female friendship. And it was designed for a teen audience. And we have a real challenge trying to get teenagers to come in to buy tickets and to see this. But the company did a brilliant thing and said there was an opportunity for dancers in our building to create a curtain raiser, and it had to be done quite quickly over Easter holidays, but we offered this to some of our tutors, and they created the most amazing curtain raiser with young people. And seeing our young people take to the professional stage and do that is just one of the most exciting things for us. So as Steve said, we're always looking for opportunities for how can we collaborate, how can we make things bigger and more. And I'm going to go on to talk about Fest Day because that is an example of it totally rests on collaboration and partnership and how we can grow more, which you so brilliantly in Creative Mornings are demonstrating. But whilst I've got you in our beautiful theatre space, and Steve has rightly said that we do face challenges in keeping going, and it has been tough. And even though we have worked really hard to keep our ticket prices lower than a cinema ticket, to encourage people to come and to see something that hasn't got a name or they might not have heard of, is increasingly difficult. And we're seeing that our audiences sometimes get bigger, but sometimes we work so hard to get an audience for something that is amazing. It might have had 5 stars in Edinburgh, it might be doing brilliantly in London and selling out, and we work and work and work, and we get an audience of 30, which means we have nothing to absorb the losses when we take a show like that. But we're so committed to keep bringing brilliant stuff to Derby, we have to keep pushing on. So I want to tell you, whilst you're in this beautiful space, whatever we put in this space always is amazing, because I said to a few of you, we have 100 seats that come out, 24 in the balcony. It's amazing when we fill that balcony too. But all the sight lines are amazing, and it feels really intimate. You feel like you're part of the experience, yet you can see everything brilliantly. And because this morning is all about movement, I wanted to tell you, and I've told a couple of you already, about 3 shows that we've got coming up. The first one is next week. I think it's on May the 3rd. Am I right, Tom? Downtown. And this is Rhiannon Faith's theatre company, and it's the most stunning theatrical dance movement piece. And when I was talking about movement and stories and the interface, this really sums it up, because it's about refugees and asylum seekers and their journey to the UK and what happens and how people treat them when they arrive, and their crossings and what their experiences are. And they use actual real transcribe, so you'll hear real stories coming across, but then they have developed it into this most incredibly stunning show. In fact, they're adapting it to fit in our space, because it's a big show, and it's like the production values of this show are going to be off the scale. So if you're interested in unheard stories and stories of people that you might just get to see splashed in tabloids, and actually what are their real stories, but done in a really different and powerful way, please come and see Downtown, and please tell your friends. Please book a ticket today. It's not expensive. Very quickly, the next show after that is The Rest of Your Lives, which is an amazing Welsh dancer called Jo Fong. It's getting rave reviews. It's got a Guardian 5-star review. It's a brilliant show. And again, selling out in London, but we have a challenge to bring audiences here. It's all about resilience, ageing, clowning, how we find joy in our lives. I think it will make you laugh. I think it will make you smile. I think it will remind us. I was looking at the themes and the things that you talked about, wanting Creative Mornings to do. It really touches on that. It really touches on finding joy in unexpected places. So that's the Rest of Our Lives. And the third show I want to tell you about, which, because as Steve says, and I'm going to go on and tell you about our Fest Day, which is all about circus. It's about bringing outdoor arts to the streets. It's really important to us that we programme work that also represents that. And this also got 5 stars in Edinburgh. It's an incredible show called The Chosen Haram. It's about an interfaith relationship, a homosexual relationship, but it's done on a Chinese pole, which is only just going to fit into this. And it's absolutely incredible. They glide and intertwine between each other like you can't believe. You actually think, how are they doing that? It is incredible. And it's another example of how movement done in a really different way shows something different. And I think circus arts shows that in a different way, because they're taking such a huge risk with their bodies. It tells a different story, because you're like, how can you trust to do that? But it says something else when he does. So please come and see that. It will be amazing. So I'll stop talking about shows, but please do come back and see it in this space. We love having you here. So Fest Day. Let me tell you about Fest Day. Fest Day has been going since 2008, am I right? It grew and it grew and it grew from lots of cultural partnerships in the city, where people thought, oh, we can bring this, we can bring that, a bit like Creative Mornings. I think there's been a challenge that COVID brought, that everybody has been fighting for survival and bringing back the engagement from all the cultural partners. It's tough because everybody's just trying to survive. So I think it's fair to say we do a large part of the heavy lifting of Fest Day, but it is beautiful and amazing. And everybody that coming into role has told me about is, oh my gosh, Fest Day is such an important part of Derby. Fest Day is the point in the year where we all love Fest Day. Everybody has something good to say about it. So for me, it was about understanding what Fest Day was for everybody. And Fest Day seems to be a time to see international art that you wouldn't normally see, and art in an urban environment. So the sort of art that you might go out to some green fields and see this. No, it's right on the street, and it's there's something about displacing what people are expecting. And so lots of people are coming to Derby and all over the region for Fest Day, but there's also shoppers who are just like, hang on a minute, what is happening here? And there's something about that disruption and bringing something that you're not expecting and something of real quality. But in terms of programming it, I also had to think about things which were going to bring families together, things that were going to bring joy, and things which were going to bring celebration. And things that people could take part in, which I'll talk a bit more as well about as we come. So I'm just going to give you a real quick flavour of what we hope is in store. Most of this is contracted, but there are a final few that have got some additional challenges. So if you've seen this in this presentation, please don't share it yet. We haven't done the public announcement yet. We are going to publicly announce soon, but it's a secret preview for you. And our ambassador programme, and we'd love any of you to be ambassadors, is where we really we invite you to shows, we invite you to talk to us, we invite you to help us with some of the events that we have and volunteer opportunities, but we really listen to you in terms of steering our programming, in terms of steering our classes, what we do, how we do it. So you have a real influence. And so if you're interested in being an ambassador, talk to Johnny. So, preview. The first thing we're going to do on the Thursday night, so historically Fest Day has only ever been a Friday and a Saturday, and because the financials were really tough this year in terms of everything has gone up, and hostile vehicle mitigation in terms of doing things in the street has massively increased. So at first thought, I think we can only afford to do it on Saturday. And so my programming really started on the Saturday. And then I was like, hang on a minute, what if we, and I have managed to sort of bend and stretch our programming so that it actually starts. We might even have a few fringe events even earlier than this, but certainly it starts on the Thursday night here. And we thought, no one really knows, as Steve says, the interface between Dada and Fest Day. So we thought, why not start here? And we've got this incredible show by Laura Murphy called A Spectacle of Herself, which is going to be incredible. It's an aerial show. It's going to be beautiful. It looks at her neurodivergence and does that through aerial and clowning, and it will be surprising. It's going to Edinburgh this summer. It's in Summer Hall, and then it's coming to us for the preview. So it will be a really special preview. Then on the Friday night, it's our sort of launch night, but it's more intimate, and we're hoping for lots of lovely things. We're going to have a VIP launch night. Hopefully, just waiting for confirmation, in the cathedral. We'd love to invite you all to that. We're going to have Deep Down Brass playing a funky brass set. We're going to have the speeches. We're going to have, hopefully, fire storytelling. We're going to have the winner of the Derby Vision song contest performing their song. That was the prize that you got to perform at Fest Day launch. And then we've got some wonderful shows that we're going to take people out. Luminos are going to be lighting up the Guildhall with this incredible projection story. We've got a show called Fireside, which is acrobatic around a fire, and then it takes you on a little journey with little fire lanterns that you've made. We've got a show called Forest, which is, again, aerial through a tree, and then you get to take part. So lots of beautiful, intimate things happening on the Friday night. Which leaves us open for Saturday, where it all starts. And Saturday, we hope, is going to be one big, giant programming day, starting at 11 a.m. in the morning and going right through to 10 p.m. at night. Lots of activity around the museum of making it such a brilliant space on the hard standing there. We've got Cog in the Wheel, which are on the bottom. They're an all-deaf dance ensemble, and they are performing around. We know we've got a huge deaf community in Derby, and it felt really important that we were showcasing deaf voices and how they perform. So it's a brilliant piece about mobile technology and how it interrupts all our lives, and we know in good ways, but we also know in some negative ways. So that'd be an amazing piece. At the top left-hand corner, we've got Highly Sprung, a piece called Castaway, which is on a trivet. So it's aerial again, but it's all about sort of waste and river. So seeing that right next to the river will be a really beautiful journey. There's a better image at the end of the presentation that I'll show you. Then the piece I'm most excited about that has literally caused me to go grey is this piece, De l'Œuvre Finale. This piece is a vertical dance piece, and it is very challenging to get it. They're from Spain. It has to have a 15-metre drop and a 9 metres wide building to do it from. And as you can imagine, finding buildings where sight lines and permissions for that has been a challenge. But we are hopeful that we're going to do it down the tower of the Museum of Making. We've had to have structural reports, we've had to have, you name it, we're doing. So we're almost there. And if it doesn't appear, it won't be for want of trying. And it's going to be absolutely stunning. They vertically dance and abseil down a building, but a bit like I was talking about Chosen Haram, they intertwine on ropes. It's done to Swan Lake, and they're in back tutus, and it's off the scale beautiful. Then we have got a tented village. You know when you go to a festival and you kind of know where the family field is or the chill out field is? We wanted that vibe. So on Cathedral Green, there'll be a tented village which will offer massage, yoga, lovely well-being and lovely making activities. And we're kind of giving a bit of an environmental river-themed approach. So there'll also be opportunities to make something for something later, which I will reveal. Then on Cathedral Square, these are shows that are really beautifully intimate. So we have got Look Mum No Hands, which is a beautiful look at disability and friendship, and the one performer's in a wheelchair and the other dancers, and it really looks at how we treat people, but how what we bring and how they completely change that narrative. And it's just joyful. And yeah, what they do with that wheelchair and dancing is incredible. And then we've got Wilderness, which is an intimate show about the environment, puppetry, nature, really gorgeous, actor musicians. So put in Cathedral Square, we think it will give that really nice feel. And then we are closing our own street. And this, again, is what Steve was saying. How do we show that data is, because we're here and some of you hadn't been to us before, although we have this great car park right opposite, which makes it great for people to access us, it also sort of prevents people from seeing us. So we thought, how can we do that? So 3 times this year, we're closing that street to try and encourage people to understand that we can do this and we can show outdoor arts in lots of different ways. And we're closing it for Fest Day, and we're working with roller snakes to turn it into a giant skate park. So the idea is that this will be a real place. If you're a young person, you know to come here. There'll be graffiti, there'll be DJs, there'll be all sorts happening here, and this will be like your Fest Day, you have it. So that is the hope there. In Market Square, lots of people fed back to me that there wasn't a central point where people knew where to go, where do I get information? Where are my signposts? So we're putting stores all around the edge. It'll be sort of like an information hub. There'll be people there, but there'll also be food and drink. And so we're going to have sort of lots of food and drink stores so that people can go to Market Square, get a drink, find out. But in the middle of all that, there will be amazing acts. And one of the amazing acts is called Farmyard Circus. At first I wondered why I was bringing a farm to Market Square. But then when I saw the trailer, I was like, why not? They do incredible things. They juggle with wheelbarrows, fire is coming out, they're tumbling over ladders. It's like old school, acrobatic, brilliant circus and fun, all done with a sort of funny farm vibe. So we're bringing a farm to the centre of Market Square. We're also bringing a sort of urban forest. So there'll be 2 pieces. The piece I told you that we're doing on Friday night in the dark forest will also perform in the day. It's a sort of beautiful tree and they do aerial from the tree. And then we've got Lungs of Our City by Two Face Dance, and it's a sort of urban scaffold tree. And again, this looks at how we treat people. It's got an amazing Ukrainian quartet that plays with it. It will be something that's visually stunning and exciting as well. So the idea was a kind of about bringing, again, that displacement and disruption, like we're bringing an urban forest and a farm into marketplace. And also work that if you rocked up, and we know that the programming is sometimes challenging to get to everything. So we tried to program work that if you sort of just rocked up and you'd missed the first 10 minutes, it would still really engage you and you'd be part of it and you didn't have to be there from the start. At River Lights, which just by Premier Inn, there's that place that close to the river that we call River Lights, and a nice performance space there. We've got Joss Arna and Role Model. Role Model are Simple Cypher, and they do incredible things inside that wheel that, is incredible. It's kind of, both pieces have kind of got parkour, breakdancing, but also acrobatics and surprising. We are also programming some other work that roves around the festival sites that will stop at those places too. We're bringing an 18-foot whale, which is really exciting. And we're going to place it alongside River Lights, not actually on the riverbanks, but there's a bit of grass there. And you go into the whale, there's going to be 6 shows. Again, there's a show which is about plastic and what it's doing to rivers, and in fact, but it done in a really quirky and different way. So you'll go into the whale's belly for that. The Spot, also Simple Cypher will perform at the Spot, and we've got Van Hool Dance Company. Again, it's sort of breakdancing, parkour and acrobatics going there. We're also hopefully developing a new piece called Small Island Stories, which is all about food and people's stories about Windrush and how that can come together. So there's a new piece that might go there. And then, as I mentioned, there's lots of roving pieces. It felt really important that we connected the city and the city sites, and people could see things and maybe follow them and go to something else. So we've got Bicycle Ballet, bringing Strictly Bicycle, which is 5 performers on bikes who do incredibly wild and balletic and balancing things on bikes, and they rove around and interact with you. We have got Johnny Orton's Giant Parade, which is this huge wheel, and they tumble and perform in it, but it also goes on its side and so goes like a hamster wheel, and that will stop at various festival sites. And they're rehearsing it here in the studio in June, which we're really excited. It's a new piece. It'll only be premiering this year, so we're really excited about them exploring the possibilities of working. If anyone is interested in the wheel, Johnny Orton Dance Theatre is really up for people saying, I'll have a community cast, I'll have people who want to be part of that. So if you're interested in saying, you know what, I actually do fancy that, I fancy being part of it, let us know, because there's opportunities for that, and I can introduce you in June when he's here rehearsing, and then you can be part of it on the day. For us, it's really important that there's opportunities to be in Fest Day as well as watch Fest Day, so we try and make the most of those. And then the piece, Totems, that you can just see there, is a French company called Compagnie de Quidam, who are coming over to perform Totems, which I won't tell you too much because I don't want to take too much away, but it is a beautiful, beautiful piece, which is part procession and part fixed show. It's extraordinary and beautiful, but it's night, and it's part of our nighttime Saturday night surprises. So I won't tell too much, but it will be incredible. I'm very glad Maria's here for this bit. So it was really important to us that we had a community procession that everybody could be part of. And so we are having a river-themed community procession, which has got lots and lots of different layers in it. We're working with artists who are going to be making processional items, birds and the river creatures across the weekends leading up to Fest Day at Museum of Making, and those workshops will be advertised. They'll be free. You can come and make big standards and things to carry in the procession. You can make hats and costume parts. They'll also be making all across the Fest Day days. So if you haven't been able to make one of those workshops, you can still make on the day and be part of the parade. Like, we want everyone to be part of the parade. The artists have got this lovely vision about sort of colour sections. So I think it starts with the white of the water wheel, then sage green to represent the river, and then the blue represents something else. So the parade will have these wonderful colour zones. We're also working with a drummer, a samba drummer, who is going to assemble a batteria of up to 100 samba drums, and they're going to learn a rhythm and a beat. We're going to be advertising those opportunities to be part of that samba batteria, again, in the weeks that lead up to the Fest Day. So if you're interested, please let us know. That would be something that would be brilliant to have any of you to be part of that. You don't have to be musical, you don't have to have done it before, but equally if you have, you can do even more complex stuff with you, but that will be something really special. And Maria from Production Showtime are going to be bringing us a beautiful carnival section to that. And so she's going to be constructing a beautiful river-themed carnival section that also goes within that. And we also hope to build out the dance so that more people will know a simple routine and be part of that. So we're hoping this carnival, whether you've worked in workshops leading up to it, or you've engaged with it in the day, or you just want to walk along with it, it's just going to bring everyone together. And we're going to leave at dusk from Museum of Making and process up the river. We're closing the road, and on the bridge we're going to put something surprising for you, which I won't tell you, so it's a surprise as you pass up. And we're going to come up to River Lights, and then there's going to be a big thing, and then Company Quidam will appear and do something incredible, which leads everybody back. And again, we're going to have surprises along the way back to lead you back, and then they'll do their fixed show, and then we'll have Finale, the vertical dance piece, do their night version, hopefully. And then we're going to end with a fireworks display and the drums. So it's kind of trying to bring, in previous Fest Days, we've had another site, which is Bass's Rec, where we've put a big show and fenced it off and ticketed it. This year, we didn't have that site because it wasn't going to be ready and the council couldn't confirm it was going to be ready. So it kind of changed it, but everybody in the partnership said, we still want that headline, we still want that wow factor. So the community parade and all the things we're trying to pull in is trying to give that headline exciting, like I've been to something really big and bold, and we hope we pull it off. But it involves people, as Steve said, it might not be exactly as we imagine, it might be different, and we're up for that. But we hope it will give something and people different festival journey, but something that still feels spectacular and amazing. Is what we're hoping for. And by removing the fenced off site that we ticketed, what we do is we make Fest Day free for everybody. So apart from the preview show on the Thursday and going in the Wales Belly, which is going to be super cheap, and we're only doing it to control numbers, everything is free. And for us, it stands for everything that we do, that we want to bring art to the streets for free for the people of Derby. So it's a bold ambition, and we hope we pull it off, but it's been really lovely to be able to tell you about it. You can be part of it in all those workshop elements that I was telling you about, but also as an ambassador. We really rely on volunteers on the day to be able to gather what people thought of it, but to signpost people, to be part of it. There's opportunities to be part of the VIP launch, any of those things. So we just love, now you've been the first people to hear about our programme, to follow you through on that journey. So that's it for me. Oh, that was the final, and that's it. That's Castaway, the big one. So thank you for listening to me. If you've got any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And otherwise, I will hand over to Steve.